Good evening here on the Central Riverhawks YouTube channel. I'm Joel McCall. We're visiting now with Mitch Olson. He is the head coach for the Central Riverhawk football team. They sit at 3-0. Just had some practice as coaches at his office at the school. So thank you very much, Coach, for joining me after practice. Do appreciate your time.
You bet, Joel. Happy to talk to you.
Yeah, and happy Labor Day. Hopefully you've had an enjoyable one prior to practice too. I certainly have with my family. And 3-0 after the win over Reedsburg. It was 21-6. We were just talking about it. All the scoring took place in the first half, up 14-0 after one. Alvarado to Meyer for 25 yards. Meyer then had a 60-yard punt return, and then the final one was Shepard from a yard out. Alvarado finished with 137 yards and one touchdown throwing. Shepard ran for 99 yards. I think Meyer was like 75 or 6, somewhere around there in receiving yards, plus the one touchdown. Overall, Coach, your thoughts, first of all, of the game, and certainly getting out to a good start with the 14-0 lead.
Yeah, it was a little sloppy on Friday. And Reedsburg ended up having a bunch of kids that were out. So the injury bug got to them a little early in the season, with them losing a really good kid on defense, probably their most talented perimeter kid, and then their starting running back, and then they lost a couple more during the game. So I guess in looking at, we feel very fortunate with how healthy we are. And, that injury bug can sneak up on you fast. And, that's kind of where Reedsburg found themselves. But, we got to win. We're not going to apologize for getting a win, but we know that we've got a lot of stuff that need to get cleaned up in all three phases of the game.
How about the second half, Coach, being shut out, but also pitching the shutout in the second half? Was there momentum swings? I wasn't able to watch much of the game, as we talked about off the air.
Yeah, neither team could really get it rolling in the second half. Both defenses played well, and there wasn't a whole lot of yardage gained in that second half. So you didn't really feel any huge momentum shift towards the end of the game on Friday, one way or the other.
Well, and as you talked about, to me, the Reedsburg touchdown was actually the snap punt that went up and over the head of Alvarado, and then you weren't able to capitalize on that. Reedsburg did, and then end up scoring off of it. That defense of yours is just playing lights out. I mean, essentially, that's another shutout. If they're not the one who's actually giving up the touchdown. So, talk about your defense, what you guys saw on film with Reedsburg, and how good did they come out and play Friday night?
Yeah, well, we knew Reedsburg wanted to run the ball, and we had a pretty good idea of what they were going to try to do in the run game. So I think that we had a good plan for it, and we executed it. With that being said, though, they didn't have they weren't fully healthy to sort of get after it, and that happens. But we'll just need to be a lot more solid next week, and we'll have to play a lot better on defense next week if we're going to be in the game with Onalaska.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the Hilltoppers coming up. One guy that I did want to highlight is Henry Meyer. He's having such a great season and start to the season. He's had some great catches. I know he had that one drop that he probably thinks about every day right now, that he could have had another touchdown against Memorial. But overall, man, he's having such a good year. And even it's not just in the receiving game, it's special teams as well.
Yeah. He's a dude. So, he's very dynamic with the ball in his hands. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. He's a very physically gifted kid that is just a really solid competitor. He just gets out there, and his natural abilities and just his competitiveness shines. And he's also one of those kids that he's going to be at his best in the biggest moments too. And that's something that, I'm sure you saw covering him in basketball last year. He's a kid that looks forward to the opportunity and embraces challenges. That's just the kind of kid and competitor he is. Now you're just able to see that on the football field.
Yeah, that's you're exactly right. I did see it during the basketball season. He would have a few more special teams touchdowns if they weren't called back. And I'm going to ask about your special teams. He did get one against Reedsburg with that punt return touchdown. What has been the key on special teams right now that has helped you guys out so much this season?
Probably getting the ball in Henry's hands and then not blocking anybody in the back. When we can do that, we're usually pretty good.
All right. Fair enough.
I can elaborate more if you want, but that's the honest truth. So
all right, fine. I'll leave it at that. I won't pry anymore. Hey, we're talking with Mitch Olson, head coach for the Riverhawk football team. They do have a big one on Alaska. It's the rivalry game that's coming up on Friday night. We'll get to cover it at UWL Stadium. The Hilltoppers got a win over Holman, 35-16 last week. They're sitting at 1-2. Coach, first of all, talk about the rivalry with the Onalaska on the gridiron, because this will be the first time I get to see it.
Yeah, Onalaska is the program that they've built, the success that they have had year in and year out, and they've been getting so close to being one of those teams that you see down at Camp Randall. Then they're one game away last year, and that's something that their program has been building to over the years. They've got a great coaching staff. They put their kids in great positions to be successful. The kids play hard, and you can tell that they're well coached. They're really good at finding different ways to attack you and exploit you. All around, it's just a really well coached team, and it's a program that's had a lot of success. I think if we play our best football, we can compete with them. But it's one of the better teams that we'll see all season.
Let's talk first on their offensive side, since I do have some notes on that, with Adam Skifton as their quarterback and obviously Evan Anderson on the outside with their wide receiver. That's such a dynamic duo. You've already seen that your cornerbacks have been tested throughout this season early on, certainly against the two Eau Claire teams. So this should be a quality matchup coming up on Friday, is how it looks on the outside with Anderson.
Yeah, he's a really talented kid, but it's not just him. They've got the Mitchell kid and Carter Gilhausen. They're going to take what you give them. So we just got to kind of pick and choose and decide what we feel comfortable with eliminating for them and taking away, and then see how they respond to that. And they will have a response. I think that they've probably got an answer for every that we can throw at him, just because Skifton is so good. He's capable of throwing any ball on the field. The receivers are really good at settling in soft spots and zones. And then, if you play man, they got good enough athletes where they can get behind you too.
How about on that defensive side for the Hilltoppers? What have you seen on film?
Yeah, they pose a lot of different challenges defensively, just because there's a lot of different things that they do with their changing of fronts, and just sort of the to a lot of people it'll look like that their middle safety just has the freedom to sort of do whatever he wants, and they'll have more concrete rules than just saying, hey, go be a football player. But playing that middle safety how they do, or he's so heavy fit into the run game, poses a lot of problems for opposing offenses. So we'll just need to be clean and making sure that our blocking schemes get communicated and everything like that up front.
Keys? How about keys for Friday night, so I don't have to email you again? Well, I will anyway, because I'll have to ask starters.
This is going to sound weird, Joel, but we're going to need to not turn the ball over. Shocking. And we'll have to turn them over. So if we can get more possessions than them, I'll feel good about where we're at. So that's something that we definitely need to do. And you're probably getting tired of me hearing it every week, but with a squad like Onalaska has, if you give them more possessions than you have, you're not going to be in a good position to win the ball game. So we've got to do that. Take care of the ball. Offensively, we've just got to execute. I think as long as we're assignment sound, we'll be okay over there. Then they're going to do a lot of different things to test our defense. So we've just got to be ready for that. We got to try to eliminate the big play, not let whatever running back they have in the game get rolling. Hopefully we'll be in a decent spot to win the game.
You switched it up a little bit on me. It wasn't all the same stuff that you've told me the last 3 weeks.
I've been brainstorming a little bit. What can I say besides turnovers?
I had a volleyball coach that after about half the season, I just stopped asking him because he told me just write serve and serve receive. That was all he told me. And he said, put it in bold and don't ever ask me again. So I'm still going to ask because you're still changing it up. If you keep saying the same thing over and over again, then I'll stop asking it.
I'll have to start getting really creative in just ways that I can say the same thing.
Well, at least you don't say score more points than the other team. I don't want to hear that. All right. So at least
No,
you're not doing that. You're not slapping that in my face. So I
no,
appreciate
I won't go that far, Joel.
Okay. I appreciate that. Well, we are going to have the basketball or oh my goodness, the basketball game, the football game. You're talking about Henry Meyer. Now you got me thinking about basketball. We have football coming up on Friday night, and that will be Onalaska against Central. We'll have that one right here on the Central YouTube channel, here on the Riverhawks channel. And that is a 7:00 start. And we'll, Nami and I should be on the call, so we should be starting about 6:45. That's the plan. We have a busy week, actually. We have volleyball tomorrow night as the girls are back at home, and we're going to cover that one against Toma. Coach Williams has already emailed me and let me know on some of my game notes that I need to write down after their loss against Aquinas last Thursday. And we have volleyball on Thursday as well when the girls go up to Holman. We'll cover the road game coming up on Thursday. So that's our schedule for the week. It'll be Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for matches or live play-by-play, if you will. The volleyball at home will start at 5:30. We'll have the VR game for that, followed by the varsity on Thursday. It'll be just at 7:00. We're only going to cover that varsity match. So looking forward to those two. Thank you again to Coach Olson. We'll have football then on Friday night, and hopefully we'll have a couple more interviews scheduled for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in here on the Central Riverhawks YouTube channel. I'm Joel McCall.